Hi there, my name is Millie, and I wanted to share a story with you about an experience that I had where the Lord was my provider, and I knew at that point that He was taking care of me and my children. So I became a single mom in 2010. At that time, my 4 children were the ages of 15, 13, 8, and 5, and went through lots of ups and downs financially, emotionally. I had just started going to church actually August of 2010 through a lot of help from family, my church family that eventually I came to know and love. I knew we were going to be okay, but financial stresses were still there. I was working at an elementary school, and I was presented with an opportunity to publish a book. I, at that time, saw this opportunity as a, potential business even. And I didn't know where it would go, where it would take me, but I knew that it was all guided by the Lord because of how it all came to be. And that's not really the story itself. But the story that I wanted to share with you is how this particular blessing proved to me that God was all in it. I did definitely publish a book in 2014. The book came to be. Working full-time at a school office, I had summers off. I had 2 months where I really wouldn't have income coming in. So I always had to kind of try to find part-time work. I saw the publishing of my book as an opportunity to sell books during the summer and make some extra money that way. My sister presented me. My sister was on the board of a local charity that works with children and families with cancer. And my sister came to me and said, Millie, would you donate some of your books to this cause? We have this event happening Labor Day weekend, and we would love it if you would donate some books. And at first I loved the idea of donating the books, but in the back of my mind, I was a little concerned because I'm like, I need to sell these books. I'm not sure that I can afford to give them away as much as my heart wants to. I just can't afford, I'm not at that place yet, hopefully in the future, but I didn't see how that would be possible in my current situation. And she said, you can even have someone sponsor the donation and it would go in their name, and they would be paying you for the books. And I said, wow, that's a great idea. I'll do that. Sure enough, I found a sponsor. They were able to, they committed to buying a whole case of books that I would then donate. Well, unfortunately, just a couple of days before this event took place, the sponsor backed out on me, and I didn't have enough time to try to locate someone to financially sponsor this cause. So I was looking at I couldn't back out on it. This was going to children. It was close to my heart. I did not want to back out on. I just looked at it as a loss at first. And I prayed about it, and the Lord told me it's not a loss. Nothing is a loss. You will win. You will gain. You will get ahead. And I was not very mature in my spiritual walk at this time, and I didn't quite know how to trust it, but I said, okay, the Lord is going to provide. And I prayed about it, and I prayed about it. Actually, my oldest daughter was against me giving the books away because she was worried about what that would mean financially for us, because I had to invest in purchasing the books up front in order to donate them. And so I prayed about it, and the Lord said, give 10 books away. And I said, okay, well, the retail price on the books was $15, but I was selling it to friends and family for 10. If I give 10 books away, that's a $100 loss. I can make $100 up. That won't hurt so bad. But 10, I've been to these events. I've seen how many children are there. There's always more than 10. And the more I prayed about it, the Lord said, give 10. So I said, okay, Lord, I'm trusting you. But at the same time, I took a whole case of books, which was, I believe, 24, because I knew that there'd be more than 10 children at this event. But nevertheless, I took my case of books prepared to give whatever it was that I needed to give. I arrived at the event, and sure enough, I looked around and there were a ton of kids there. And I was afraid that my one box of books was not even going to be enough. And then I was afraid, how would I recover if it was more than $100 investment? How would I recover that extra loss? But I went in smiling, and I got to read to the children. I got to autographs. I felt like a little bit of a celebrity, which was kind of cool. But I was, in the back of my mind, I was a little bit worried. This is going to cost me a lot of money. I asked my sister, who was sponsoring the event, if she could give me the names of the kids in advance so I could take a look at this list. And she says, yeah, sure. She brings me a 2-page list. And I look at the list and I'm like, oh my goodness, sure enough, there's a lot more kids here than I really was prepared for. But Lord, you said there'd be 10. And she sees me looking at the list and must have picked up on my face. I must have looked concerned. And she goes, oh, you don't have to make it out to all of them, just to the individual families. There's 10 families here. Oh, and I said, oh my goodness, 10 families? She goes, yeah, it's just one book per family. So yes, there were multiple kids per family, but I only had to give 10 books away. So I was like, thank you, Lord. He knew exactly what I needed to give. He knew that I needed to give 10 books. So I, sighed a big sigh of relief, went ahead about my evening. This was on a Friday night, by the way. On Sunday morning, 2 days later, I was singing with the choir at my church, and we were getting ready to go. We were in the choir room, getting ready to go up on the platform to worship. And a lady that had been one of my teachers at one of the Bible classes that I was taking, approached me in the hallway just outside the choir room. And she handed something to me, folded up in my hand, and she said, Millie, here, this is for you. The Lord told me that this is where I'd find you, and the Lord told me to give this to you. She gives me a big old hug, walks away. I opened up my hand, and there was a $100 bill. So the $100 that I thought was a loss was not a loss at all. The Lord had it all planned out. I gave away those 10 books, and He had me covered. And I'm so glad that I listened to Him. I obeyed, I trusted. My teacher obeyed and trusted and came and gave me that $100, and I was in tears. And I knew right then and there I was going to be okay. If you have a decision that you need to make, or you don't know which way to go, I've learned that you've got to take everything to prayer. You may not know which way to go. You may not know what decision to make, but God will always steer you in the right direction. He will always point you in the right path. And I've learned this from my pastor: go where there is peace. So if you are hesitant into making a decision, or just, taking a leap of faith, pray. Always pray first, and then just do it. If God is telling you to do it, trust in Him and do it. There is assurance that if you are following God's leading, He will never steer you wrong.